Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at Kaspa and we're just going to be providing a quick update on where the coin has been going. Now, quick disclaimer, I do own and mine Kaspa, so I will have some kind of a bias. However, that being said, basically since about late 2023, I've been calling for Kaspa to have some kind of a correction. And every single time, I've been wrong. And it was basically here when we got this top, when I first started expecting Kaspa to have some kind of a correction, and I said we're surely going to see some kind of a pull down. We got 4 weeks, a month of bad price action, but then we came back to a double top. When we saw the double top, I said this is usually very bearish price action. A double top usually forecasts bad price action, and we got 2 weeks and I was celebrating here. I was like, yep, that's a rejection. But then Kaspa just went in and put in this crazy move and kind of 3x'd over the space of a month, 5 weeks. And again, even recently, I did the same thing. When we put in this high back in February, I was saying, okay, we're going to see some kind of a correction. When we came down to these lows, I was celebrating. I wasn't celebrating, but I was like, I'm finally right about Kaspa. I've actually called it for once. We got this bounce, and then we came back to this high. We got the double top, and I was thinking, okay, it's got to be a double top. There's got to be some kind of a correction coming, because we basically haven't had a correction for all of Kaspa's life. It's basically just been up with minor pullbacks. And then we got these 2 red weeks. Looks like it could be a correction. But no, we've basically gone back up to the double top again in the space of this week. And as of recording, it's a Wednesday. So we've still got another 4 days of potentially good price action. It also looks eerily similar to the previous double top that we got, where we had 2 red weeks of, I think it was 20% here from kind of the range from high to low. We dropped 20% in those 2 weeks, 21%. If we take from high to low, we dropped about 25, 26% here. So very similar moves, even the leading up kind of moves. We got 4 green weeks here. Here we got 4 green weeks with kind of a nothing week here. So ultimately, looks like we are playing out somewhat similarly to this. Now again, that doesn't mean that it will play out this way, but I've been fading Kaspa for close to a year, and I've been wrong basically every single time. So I'm not even going to say that I think it's going to get a correction and move down. I'm actually just I'm done. I don't know where it's going. It's just doing its own thing. But if we zoom out, we can see that it has been kind of following this arc all of its life, and we can see that it's been plateauing as time is going on. That is, of course, not unusual with cryptocurrencies. There always seems to be some kind of an arc. Now, how long Kaspa decides to remain in this trend for will probably depend on where you think the market is headed, what you think Kaspa is going to do, when it's going to peak out, when are we going to have our bull run, lots of things like this. But you can see if we really zoom out and check when the 2 lines converge, they roughly converge in July of 2026 at a price of $2.70. Now, I think what will determine whether you think it's feasible that we can be at this price at this date will, of course, depend on a lot of factors. But perhaps one that people often overlook will be the market capitalization. So currently, Kaspa has a market cap of $4 billion at a price of 17 cents. To get to a price of $2.70 per Kaspa, you're basically looking at the coin doing something around a 15x. If I quickly measure, let me see, from today's price to this, yeah, 1500% is what we're looking at. So in terms of market cap, again, $4 billion currently, you take 4 and multiply it by 15, you're looking at an $80 billion market cap. And now that does sound like a lot. And in fact, it definitely is a lot. But just to get an idea of the size that Kaspa would be, the current market capitalization of BNB, the Binance Smart Chain, build and build, whatever it is, that is currently $80 billion. And that is the 3rd biggest altcoin on the planet. Now, whether you think that's coming July 2026, maybe you'd lean towards getting a Q3 of 2025 peak. That would be at a much lower price. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. But if you think that this scenario is going to play out where it converges, you're saying that it will have the current market cap of BNB at this time. And that's not including the inflation rate at which coins are being generated. Of course, there will be more coins, so the market cap will also increase that way. So realistically, it's going to be more than 80 billion. It could even be something like 90 billion, 100 billion. If, again, you want to look at kind of a Q3 of 2025 for your peak, which is something that if we were in the normal cycle, that's probably when we'd be peaking. Anywhere from, you could argue, July to September. You're going to be looking at a Kaspa peaking out, if it's following this model, at somewhere anywhere in between $1.50 and $1.15, depending on when you think the top is going to be in. Again, that's about a 10x from current prices, meaning a 10x from current market capitalization. That'll bring us to 40 billion, also assuming some kind of inflation rate of circulating tokens or tokens in existence. You could be looking at something like 45 billion at its peak. I don't think that's too outlandish. Again, you have to remember that Kaspa is ranked 24 in terms of market capitalization. There's just not much wiggle room for a coin like that. Now, in a bull run, it's a double-edged sword because it means most likely this coin is going to do well, but you could potentially get more gains by taking more risk, by going further down the market cap rankings. You know, that the lower the altcoin, the easier it is for that altcoin to go up several multiples of itself. However, the higher the market cap of a coin, the more harder it is. You know, this is stuff that most people know. Finally, kind of looking at the last scenario, if you believe we're in a left translated cycle, you're kind of expecting a peak sometime by the end of this year, potentially, or Q1 of next year, 2025. If we see where that would put us with this model, December, we'd be looking at a 70 cents Kaspa. Now that's assuming Kaspa remains bullish, and do remember that the rest of the crypto space has been collapsing for a long time now. Basically since March. We looked at Cardano yesterday. Cardano's been going down since March. And while Kaspa had a bit of a retracement in March, you know, it came down to this low and tested it again, we've also rallied for like over a month, which is kind of mind-boggling to me, to be honest with you. But anyway, I've already said how flabbergasted I am with Kaspa's price action. If you're looking at a February top, and that'll be kind of a stretching it for a left translated cycle theory, you're looking at about 84 cents for Kaspa with this model. So some cool, interesting ideas that, again, it's just a chart. It's not a prediction of the future. Most charts are wrong, but it's just interesting to see what they could potentially forecast. Now, looking at the Bitcoin pair with Kaspa, again, not too much data, but we can see Kaspa has been following some kind of a pattern. We can see that when it launched, it was in a slow upward trend, and we got these kind of moves, these strong moves. We got a first smaller scale one in the first few weeks, and then a couple of months later, we had a much stronger move. And note that we had about 3-4 weeks of great price action when we got that price action. This second move brought us much further up, but then we entered a slow downward trend, and we slowly lost value against Bitcoin for about 6 months. We can see we put in this high in November, and we put in kind of this low here where the reversion happened in May. Note that, again, we've had this first upward movement, second upward movement, and this is when we changed trend. Here we've had a first smaller upward movement, and now we're having, albeit not as strong, but a second upward movement, which could potentially break the trend again and put us into a slow uptrend. Now, this is just, you know, there's no reason to say that this couldn't play out. It's just a hunch. And the way Kaspa's been trading after me repeatedly fading it, it's kind of made me doubt myself when it comes to Kaspa, because it just seems to defy the rest of the crypto space. So I don't know where it could be going. Kaspa can go any direction, and I won't be able to call it, so I'm not even going to try. It would look like, though, however, that we are going to move above this trend. But hey, me having said that, most likely it's going to trend downwards now. We are at the resistance of this trend line. It wouldn't be unusual if we got a rejection. It wouldn't be unusual for Kaspa if we moved above it, because we've also moved above it on the second move. And again, we got a weaker first move here. First time we got a weaker first move and then a stronger second move. We've had the weaker first move. We might have a stronger second move. We might not. That might not be a pattern at all. Ultimately, we're just going to have to wait for time to tell. Again, we don't have much data with the Kaspa Bitcoin pair. So that's probably going to wrap up this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike too. That's totally fine. Consider clicking the video up here. It's what Google thinks you want to watch, so you probably want to watch it. Or check out my face if you want to find other Kaspa updates / price predictions. You know, if you want to have a good laugh and see how I've been wrong multiple times about Kaspa, you can find them on the channel page. Thanks so much, guys. Take care and peace.